Disgrace by J.M. Coetzee. Chapter 16. All of the next morning, Lucy avoids him. The meeting she promised with Petrus does not take place. Then in the afternoon, Petrus himself raps at the back door, business-like as ever, wearing boots and overalls. It is time to lay the pipes, he says. He wants to lay PVC piping from the storage dam to the site of his new house, a distance of 200 meters. Can he borrow tools, and can David help him fit the regulator? I know nothing about regulators. I know nothing about plumbing. He is in no mood to be helpful to Petrus. It is not plumbing, says Petrus. It is pipe fitting. It is just laying pipes. On the way to the dam, Petrus talks about regulators of different kinds, about pressure valves, about junctions. He brings out the words with a flourish, showing off his mastery. The new pipe will have to cross Lucy's land, he says. It is good that she has given her permission. She is forward-looking. She is a forward-looking lady, not backward-looking. About the party, about the boy with the flickering eyes, Petrus says nothing. It is as though none of that had happened. His own role at the dam soon becomes clear. Petrus needs him not for advice on pipe fitting or plumbing, but to hold things, to pass him tools, to be his handlanger, in fact. The role is not one he objects to. Petrus is a good workman. It is an education to watch him. It is Petrus himself he has begun to dislike. As Petrus drones on about his plans, he grows more and more frosty toward him. He would not wish to be marooned with Petrus on a desert isle. He would certainly not wish to be married to him, a dominating personality. The young wife seems happy, but he wonders what stories the old wife has to tell. At last, when he has had enough, he cuts across the flow. Petrus, he says, that young man who was at your house last night, what is his name and where is he now? Petrus takes off his cap, wipes his forehead. Today he is wearing a peaked cap with a silver South African Railways and Harbours badge. He seems to have a collection of headgear. You see, says Petrus, frowning, David, it is a hard thing you are saying, and this boy is a thief. He is very angry that you are calling him a thief. That is what he is telling everyone. And I am the one who must be keeping the peace. So it is hard for me too. I have no intention of involving you in the case, Petrus. Tell me the boy's name and whereabouts, and I will pass on the information to the police. Then he can leave it to the police to investigate and bring him and his friends to justice. You will not be involved. I will not be involved. It will be a matter for the law. Petrus stretches, bathing his face in the sun's glow. Tut, the insurance will give you a new car. Is it a question? A declaration? What game is Petrus playing? The insurance will not give me a new car, he explains, trying to be patient. Assuming it isn't bankrupt by now because of all the car theft in this country, the insurance will give me a percentage of its own idea of what the old car was worth. That won't be enough to buy a new car. Anyhow, there is a principle involved. We can't leave it to insurance companies to deliver justice. That is not their business. But you will not get your car back from this boy. He cannot give you your car. He does not know where your car is. Your car is gone. The best is you buy another car with the insurance, then you have a car again. How has he landed in this dead end? He tries a new tack. Petrus, let me ask you, is the boy related to you? And why, Petrus continues, ignoring the question, do you want to take this boy to the police? He is too young. You cannot put him in jail. If he is 18, he can be tried. If he is 16, he can be tried. No, he is not 18. How do you know? He looks 18 to me. He looks more than 18. I know. He is just a youth. He cannot go to jail. That is the law. You cannot put a youth in jail. You must let him go. For Petrus, that seems to clinch the argument. Heavily, he settles on one knee and begins to work the coupling over the outlet pipe. Petrus, My daughter wants to be a good neighbor, a good citizen and a good neighbor. She loves the Eastern Cape. She wants to make her life here. She wants to get along with everyone. But how can she do so when she is liable to be attacked at any moment by thugs who then escape scot-free? Surely you can see. Petrus is struggling to get the coupling to fit. The skin of his hand shows deep, rough cracks. He gives little grunts as he works. There is no sign that he has even heard. Lucy is safe here, he announces suddenly. It is all right. You can leave her. She is safe. But she is not safe, Petrus. Clearly she is not safe. You know what happened to her on the 21st. Yes, I know what happened. But now it is all right. Who says it is all right? I say. You say? You will protect her? I will protect her. You didn't protect her last time. Petrus smears more grease over the pipe. You say you know what happened, but you didn't protect her last time, he repeats. You went away, and then those 3 thugs turned up, and now it seems you are friends with one of them. What am I supposed to conclude? It is the closest he has come to accusing Petrus. But why not? The boy is not guilty, says Petrus. He is not a criminal. He is not a thief. It is not just thieving I am speaking of. There was another crime as well, a far heavier crime. You say you know what happened. You must know what I mean. He is not guilty. He is too young. It is just a big mistake. You know? I know. The pipe is in. Petrus folds the clamp, tightens it, stands up, straightens his back. I know. I am telling you, I know. You know? You know the future? What can I say to that? You have spoken. Do you need me here any longer? No, now it is easy. Now I must just dig the pipe in. Despite Petrus's confidence in the insurance industry, there is no movement on his claim. Without a car, he feels trapped on the farm. On one of his afternoons at the clinic, he unburdens himself to Bev Shaw. Lucy and I are not getting on, he says. Nothing remarkable in that, I suppose. Parents and children aren't made to live together. Under normal circumstances, I would have moved out by now, gone back to Cape Town. But I can't leave Lucy alone on the farm. She isn't safe. I am trying to persuade her to hand over the operation to Petrus and take a break, but she won't listen to me. You have to let go of your children, David. You can't watch over Lucy forever. I let go of Lucy long ago. I have been the least protective of fathers. But the present situation is different. Lucy is objectively in danger. We have had that demonstrated to us. It will be all right. Petrus will take her under his wing. Petrus? What interest has Petrus in taking her under his wing? You underestimate Petrus. Petrus slaved to get the market going for Lucy. Without Petrus, Lucy wouldn't be where she is now. I'm not saying she owes him everything, but she owes him a lot. That may be so. The question is, what does Petrus owe her? Petrus is a good old chap. You can depend on him. Depend on Petrus? Because Petrus has a beard and smokes a pipe and carries a stick, you think Petrus is an old-style Kafir? But it is not like that at all. Petrus is not an old-style Kafir, much less a good old chap. Petrus, in my opinion, is itching for Lucy to pull out. If you want proof, look no further than at what happened to Lucy and me. It may not have been Petrus's brainchild, but he certainly turned a blind eye. He certainly didn't warn us. He certainly took care not to be in the vicinity. His vehemence surprises Bev Shaw. Poor Lucy, she whispers. She has been through such a lot. I know what Lucy has been through. I was there. Wide-eyed, she gazes back at him. But you weren't there, David. She told me. You weren't. You weren't there. You don't know what happened. He is baffled. Where, according to Bev Shaw, according to Lucy, was he not? In the room where the intruders were committing their outrages? Do they think he does not know what rape is? Do they think he has not suffered with his daughter? What more could he have witnessed than he is capable of imagining? Or do they think that, where rape is concerned, no man can be where a woman is? Whatever the answer, he is outraged at being treated like an outsider. He buys a small television set to replace the one that he was stolen. In the evenings after supper, he and Lucy sit side by side on the sofa watching the news and then, if they can bear it, the entertainment. It is true, the visit has gone on too long, in his opinion as well as in Lucy's. He is tired of living out of a suitcase, tired of listening all the while for the crunch of gravel on the pathway. He wants to be able to sit at his own desk again, sleep in his own bed. But Cape Town is far away, almost another country. Despite Bev's counsel, despite Petrus's assurances, despite Lucy's obstinacy, he is not prepared to abandon his daughter. This is where he lives for the present, in this time, in this place. He has recovered the sight of his eye completely. His scalp is healing over. He need no longer use the oily dressing. Only the ear still needs daily attention. So time does indeed heal all. Presumably Lucy is healing too. Or if not healing, then forgetting. Growing scar tissue around the memory of that day, sheathing it, sealing it off, so that one day she may be able to say, "The day we were robbed," and think of it merely as the day when they were robbed. He tries to spend the daytime hours outdoors, leaving Lucy free to breathe in the house. He works in the garden. When he is tired, he sits by the dam, observing the ups and downs of the duck family, brooding on the Byron project. The project is not moving. All he can grasp of it are fragments. The first words of the first act still resist him. The first notes remain as elusive as wisps of smoke. Sometimes he fears that the characters in the story, who for more than a year have been his ghostly companions, are beginning to fade away. Even the most appealing of them, Margherita Cogni, whose passionate contralto attacks hurled against Byron's bitchmate Teresa Guiccioli he aches to hear, is slipping. Their loss fills him with despair, despair as grey and even as unimportant in the larger scheme as a headache. He goes off to the animal welfare clinic as often as he can, offering himself for whatever jobs call for no skill: feeding, cleaning, mopping up. The animals they care for at the clinic are mainly dogs, less frequently cats. For livestock, D Village appears to have its own veterinary law, its own pharmacopoeia, its own healers. The dogs that are brought in suffer from distempers, from broken limbs, from infected bites, from mange, from neglect, benign or malign, from old age, from malnutrition, from intestinal parasites, but most of all from their own fertility. There are simply too many of them. When people bring a dog in, they do not say straight out, "I have brought you this dog to kill," but that is what is expected. That they will dispose of it, make it disappear, dispatch it to oblivion. What is being asked for is, in fact, Lösung, German always to hand with an appropriately blank abstraction, sublimation, as alcohol is sublimed from water, leaving no residue, no aftertaste. So on Sunday afternoons, the clinic door is closed and locked while he helps Bev Shaw loosen the week's superfluous canines. One at a time, he fetches them out of the cage at the back and leads or carries them into the theatre. To each, in what will be its last minutes, Bev gives her fullest attention, stroking it, talking to it, easing its passage. If, more often than not, the dog fails to be charmed, it is because of his presence. He gives off the wrong smell. They can smell your thoughts, the smell of shame. Nevertheless, he is the one who holds the dog still as the needle finds the vein, and the drug hits the heart, and the legs buckle, and the eyes dim. He had thought he would get used to it, but that is not what happens. The more killings he assists in, the more jittery he gets. One Sunday evening, driving home in Lucy's combi, he actually has to stop at the roadside to recover himself. Tears flow down his face that he cannot stop. His hands shake. He does not understand what is happening to him. Until now he has been more or less indifferent to animals. Although in an abstract way he disapproves of cruelty, he cannot tell whether by nature he is cruel or kind. He is simply nothing. He assumes that people from whom cruelty is demanded in the line of duty, people who work in slaughterhouses, for instance, grow carapaces over their souls. Habit hardens. It must be so in most cases, but it does not seem to be so in his. He does not seem to have the gift of hardness. His whole being is gripped by what happens in the theatre. He is convinced that dogs know their time has come. Despite the silence and the painlessness of the procedure, despite the good thoughts that Bev Shaw thinks and that he tries to think, despite the airtight bags in which they tie the new-made corpses, the dogs in the yard smell what is going on inside. They flatten their ears, they droop their tails, as if they too feel the disgrace of dying. Locking their legs, they have to be pulled or pushed or carried over the threshold. On the table, some snap wildly left or right, some whine plaintively. None will look straight at the needle in Bev's hand, which they somehow know is going to harm them terribly. Worst are those that sniff him and try to lick his hand. He has never liked being licked, and his first impulse is to pull away. Why pretend to be a chum when in fact one is a murderer? But then he relents. Why should a creature with the shadow of death upon it feel him flinch away, as if its touch were abhorrent? So he lets them lick him if they want to, just as Bev Shaw strokes them and kisses them if they will let her. He is not, he hopes, a sentimentalist. He tries not to sentimentalize the animals he kills, or to sentimentalize Bev Shaw. He avoids saying to her, "I don't know how you do it," in order not to have to hear her say in return, "Someone has to do it." He does not dismiss the possibility that at the deepest level, Bev Shaw may not be a liberating angel but a devil, that beneath her show of compassion may hide a heart as leathery as a butcher's. He tries to keep an open mind. Since Bev Shaw is the one who inflicts the needle, it is he who takes charge of disposing of the remains. The morning after each killing session, he drives the loaded combi to the grounds of Settlers Hospital, to the incinerator, and there consigns the bodies in their black bags to the flames. It would be simpler to cart the bags to the incinerator immediately after the session and leave them there for the incinerator crew to dispose of. But that would mean leaving them on the dump with the rest of the weekend scourings, with waste from the hospital wards, carrion scooped up at the roadside, malodorous refuse from the tannery, a mixture both casual and terrible. He is not prepared to inflict such dishonor upon them. So on Sunday evenings, he brings the bags to the farm in the back of Lucy's combi, parks them overnight, and on Monday mornings drives them to the hospital grounds. There he himself loads them, one at a time, onto the feeder trolley, cranks the mechanism that hauls the trolley through the steel gate into the flames, pulls the lever to empty it of its contents, and cranks it back, while the workmen whose job this normally is stand by and watch. On his first Monday, he left it to them to do the incinerating. Rigor mortis had stiffened the corpses overnight. The dead legs caught in the bars of the trolley, and when the trolley came back from its trip to the furnace, the dog would as often as not come riding back too, blackened and grinning, smelling of singed fur, its plastic covering burnt away. After a while, the workmen began to beat the bags with the backs of their shovels before loading them, to break the rigid limbs. It was then that he intervened and took over the job himself. The incinerator is anthracite-fueled, with an electric fan to suck air through the flues. He guesses that it dates from the 1950s, when the hospital itself was built. It operates 6 days of the week, Monday to Saturday. On the seventh day it rests. When the crew arrive for work, they first rake out the ashes from the previous day, then charge the fire. By 9 a.m., temperatures of 1,000 degrees centigrade are being generated in the inner chamber, hot enough to calcify bone. The fire is stoked until mid-morning. It takes all afternoon to cool down. He does not know the names of the crew, and they do not know his. To them, he is simply the man who began arriving on Mondays with the bags from animal welfare, and has since then been turning up earlier and earlier. He comes, he does his work, he goes. He does not form part of the society of which the incinerator, despite the wire fence and the padlock gate, and the notice in 3 languages, is the hub. For the fence has long ago been cut through. The gate and the notice are simply ignored. By the time the orderlies arrive in the morning with the first bags of hospital waste, there are already numbers of women and children waiting to pick through it for syringes, pins, washable bandages, anything for which there is a market, but particularly for pills, which they sell to muti shops or trade in the streets. There are vagrants too, who hang about the hospital grounds by day and sleep by night against the wall of the incinerator, or perhaps even in the tunnel for the warmth. It is not a sodality he tries to join, but when he is there, they are there. And if what he brings to the dump does not interest them, that is only because the parts of a dead dog can neither be sold nor be eaten. Why has he taken on this job? To lighten the burden on Bev Shaw? For that, it would be enough to drop off the bags at the dump and drive away, for the sake of the dogs. But the dogs are dead, and what do dogs know of honor and dishonor anyway? For himself, then, for his idea of the world, a world in which men do not use shovels to beat corpses into a more convenient shape for processing. The dogs are brought to the clinic because they are unwanted, because they are too many. That is where he enters their lives. He may not be their savior, the one for whom they are not too many, but he is prepared to take care of them once they are unable, utterly unable, to take care of themselves. Once even Bev Shaw has washed her hands of them. A dog man, Petrus once called himself. Well, now he has become a dog man, a dog undertaker, a dog psychopomp, a Harijan. Curious that a man as selfish as he should be offering himself to the service of dead dogs. There must be other, more productive ways of giving himself to the world, or to an idea of the world. One could, for instance, work longer hours at the clinic. One could try to persuade the children at the dump not to fill their bodies with poisons. Even sitting down more purposefully with the Byron libretto might, at a pinch, be construed as a service to mankind. But there are other people who do these things, the animal welfare thing, the social rehabilitation thing, even the Byron thing. He saves the honor of corpses because there is no one else stupid enough to do it. That is what he is becoming. Stupid, daft, wrong-headed.